Okay, so hello everyone, welcome. You can let us know where you're seeing us from. Just put a note in the chat. We are in Zoom as well as on Facebook, and we still have 4 minutes, so we're going to wait those 4 minutes. So in the meantime, you can introduce yourself, tell us what level you teach, tell us where you teach. So if you're from Trinidad and Tobago, let us know, or other parts of the world, let us know. And I would like to thank Ann Kozma for coming here. But as I said, we have 3 more minutes before it's official, so we can just chat in the meantime.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm dropping in my comment too, saying hello from Miami, Florida. Super excited to meet you all today and to share a little bit more. Let's see.
Yes. We have some persons from the chat, from Tobago, Latoya, who teaches Spanish. Diego Martin, Trinidad, welcome.
Good day, everybody, and hello. I was excited to learn that we're in the same time zone, so it's been really cool to connect with Leanne and hear more about the awesome connections you all have as 21st century educators and exploring technologies to support our students. It's been really fun to connect and learn a little bit more, so we're excited you're here today.
We have 2 more minutes before we start. We have one new message. Hi, Disa. Welcome. And I'm going to be disappearing and leaving you in the very capable hands of Ann Kozma. She actually is one of the lead innovators from Flipgrid, so I don't need to be here, but feel free to leave your comments, questions, and she will address those. And, you know, let's keep the conversation going as she's going to talk about empowering voice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what I love to share too, I know we're not officially started yet, but for those of you who are tuning in, definitely feel free to use the chat. Let us know where you're checking in from. Let us know what content area you teach. If you have what I call brain zings, those are those aha moments or something that piques your interest or makes you curious or gets you excited. Use the chat and definitely feel free to share during the webinar. And I know Leanne is gonna pop in at the end. We can address any questions, but definitely feel free to use that chat. That's what it's there for.
So, Anne, we start officially in 1 minute. So I'm gonna pop off and you can get yourself ready.
Cool, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll share my screen and start that. Get it set into present mode. All right, I believe we are almost ready, friends, and I'm so excited to welcome you not only into the Zoom room, but also for those of you who are tuning in live on Facebook in the 21st Century Educators Group. Welcome, my name is Ann Kozma, and I'm going to be talking about how you can use Flipgrid to engage, empower, amplify, and connect with every scholar in Flipgrid. So one of the beautiful things, let me go ahead and click on this. I want to, here we go. First of all, start by saying thank you. On behalf of all of Team Flipgrid, we are so inspired by the incredible ways you empower your learning community. And whether you're joining in from Trinidad and Tobago or anywhere around the planet, I love connecting with educators. I'm a former first grade teacher and technology innovation coach in Southern California, but I'm coming to you live from Miami today. And as one of the educator innovation leads on Team Flipgrid, I am so excited to say my job is simply to be a teacher helping teachers. And so on behalf of our team, thank you for doing what you do to empower your learning community. If you are on social media, I would love to get connected. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ann Kozma 723. So definitely feel free to reach out. And please know that the conversations that begin today do not end today. So definitely get connected. I work alongside some incredible educators. Jess, Jornay, and I are the 3 teachers on Team Flipgrid, and we work very closely with Joey and George and Adam and Angela and Michael and a few others to support you all. So please feel free to get connected and let us know if we can help in any way. And as we explore Flipgrid, if this is something that is brand new to you, I just want to let you know what our mission is. And this is the heartbeat of everything we do. Our mission is to empower every learner on the planet to share their voice and respect the diverse voices of others. And I love that as we get to know each other and hear and listen, it builds awareness, and that awareness leads to empathy. So we love that together we are growing as an individual, but growing as a global community as well. So friends, if you are brand new to Flipgrid, we believe in empowering every voice. And Flipgrid is an asynchronous video communication tool that is 100% free for every person on the planet. And my goal for today is to share some ideas and some examples. I'm going to talk about creative ways educators are using Flipgrid to hopefully spark some curiosity for you, and share some resources, as well as going into the platform live so that you can see what Flipgrid looks like from an educator view, as well as what it looks like from a student view. So if you imagine this, imagine that social media and student-centered learning had a baby. That would be Flipgrid. And what that means is creative, authentic storytelling with an academic focus or purpose. And I love this quote by our good friend Desiree Alexander. So imagine endless possibilities for creating and sharing your unique voice. Additionally, our good friend Amy Storer, an educator in Texas, said Flipgrid is simple, authentic, and too much fun. So check this out. Flipgrid is simple. What you do is create a grid. You can think of a grid as whatever group of students, group of people, community you want to engage with. Then you simply add topics. Topics are those individual discussion points. Think of it as an activity or an assignment. And then the magic happens when you invite students to share their voice. So it's that simple. And we're going to dig into this a little bit and explore, as mentioned, what it looks like. So again, think of a grid as a group of students, a group of people in your learning community, a group of people at your school, on your staff, or even in your own community. After you create that grid, you add topics. And as I mentioned, those are those individual discussion points or assignments. This could follow an academic theme, a personal reflection, a book study, a response to literature, a physical education task or demonstration. And you can extend those topic discussions by adding resources like a Google slide deck or a PowerPoint file, a YouTube video, a Nearpod lesson, any sort of topic attachment you want to. And then, as mentioned, the magic happens when students share. So on the screen, you see an example of a grid, and I'm going to take you to see an example as well, but every smile, every selfie, every individual video on the grid simply represents a student or person somewhere sharing their voice. and they're not bound by time or geographic location, because an asynchronous video tool provides tons of flexibility and freedom for your students to share where and when it's meaningful for them. So as we dig in today as educators, let's frame some of this discussion. Some of you in your schools and communities might talk about your learning goals. In the United States, we call these our standards. Also, we have discussions about our ISTE standards, which the International Society for Technology and Education shares these standards for educators and students and administrators and coaches and folks around the world to give us some baselines for how to support our students and our learning community. And if you think of our students as knowledge constructors, one of the things that we as educators want to do is help our students critically curate using a variety of digital tools or resources. They construct their knowledge, demonstrate understanding, produce creative artifacts, and have those meaningful learning experiences, whether it's individually or collaboratively. Think beyond this. Think about what we do to help empower our students to become global collaborators. So if we're helping them meaningfully use a digital tool to connect with learners from a variety of backgrounds and cultures, how do we support our students and engage them in that mutual understanding and learning? And I love that this aligns closely with the mission of Flipgrid to respect the diverse voices of others. So I know in the United States and learning communities around the world radically shifted to remote learning situations or e-learning situations in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. But what does it look like when we empower our students to create and learn and share and collaborate beyond a class setting in a global community? And one more thing to guide our thoughts as we dig into this platform today. What does this look like for us as educators? How do we foster a culture where our students take ownership of their learning goals and their outcomes in independent and group settings? So let those sort of challenge us as we explore possibilities together today. And I mentioned that Flipgrid is a video platform where students share their voice, but please know, we love to say, if you can think it, you can Flipgrid it. So imagine from pre-K to PhD, if you're working in high school, university, in your own family and friend community, in your professional organizations as well. Flipgrid could be used for a simple introduction on the first day of school with a greeting and a pronunciation of a name. It could be a reflection or exit ticket at the end of the day where students share a learning moment or takeaway. We've seen creative things like entire communities share virtual art shows or talent shows. We've seen physical education teachers challenge students to demonstrate skill and concept mastery for PE standards. We've seen communities invite guest speakers to come and respond and speak to an expert content area. I love creative things like digital career days that take place on Flipgrid, or virtual museums sharing historic biographical information from change makers around the world from various times in history. And think about virtual graduation celebrations. Think about a digital yearbook. Think about all of those creative ways that you can empower your community. So if you can think it, you can definitely Flipgrid it. So what might this look like in some ways? I mentioned I'm going to show some examples from other educators, and let's dig in a little bit. Again, if you are getting started and you're wanting to push some buttons and play along, in a few moments, I'm going to go to flipgrid.com. So you're welcome to open that in another tab. If you're working on a mobile device and you want to download the free Flipgrid app, you're welcome to do so. But what I want to do is talk about what this looks like and think about ways that we could see potential for using Flipgrid in our communities, whether it's an individual response, a connection, a shared experience, or beyond. And I know I mentioned in the United States, and Leanne and I spoke some about the response in Trinidad and Tobago in regards to remote learning situations. As educators, we try and bridge the connection between school and home. And what does it look like now when we bridge back from home to school, whether we're remote learning or in a hybrid situation? So look at some of these examples and see how we can foster those connections no matter where we are geographically or what time zone we're in. One of this really fun examples that we've seen was from Teresa Schrader, who used Flipgrid to conduct a masked singer challenge for her students. And she said it was a hit, and it was so fun and inspiring to see students come out of their comfort zones. Perhaps the creativity of hiding behind an emoji emboldened students in new and creative ways to share their voice. So if you like that show, The Masked Singer, that's definitely something you could do in your own learning community as well. This example on the screen right now, you see from Mike Mohammed, who is an AP physics teacher in high school, that he used the digital inking tool and whiteboard within Flipgrid to create with images and text and drawing to help students explain concept scenarios dealing with forces and dynamic forces. So I love that example to show you a sophisticated, highly academic use to help students demonstrate skill or mastery of a concept. And this super creative bouncing ball sing-along video that you can also see on the screen from Katie Wardrobe. And Katie simply put a photograph inside her Flipgrid and used an emoji and moved it on the screen to create bouncing ball music videos. So again, if you can think it, you can Flipgrid it, and it can be as simple or as sophisticated as you want it to be. Now, a lot of students at the end of their high school career are thinking about next steps, whether it's career, whether it's college, whether it's a transition from a traditional school program into the real world. We saw this example from an educator in Southern Florida who was celebrating Decision Day with her high school seniors and gave them an opportunity to talk about what they were going to do beyond high school. This was a really cool celebration, even though students were not in the same place to celebrate these milestone moments. And I love these examples too. Hopefully what you're seeing on screen is just giving you some ideas and already getting your brain zinging. But these three examples right here are pretty cool too. Joey Tarleson, who happens to be my boss. Hey, Joey. Joey shared this idea for the Pictionary game on Flipgrid, and he called it Fliptionary. So all it is using that digital whiteboard or blackboard and an inking tool and drawing out, could be academic vocabulary, could be a skill or scientific concept. It could be nouns, verbs, and adjectives. It could be any way to gamify your academic vocabulary instruction. Now, the picture in the center of the screen simply shows somebody kept using the pause button in Flipgrid. Pause, pause, pause. And in between each of those recordings and pausing, what they were doing was creating a stop motion video. And the example on the right of a fun friend peeking out through a jungle scene, that's called a Flipmoji scene. And all she did was use emojis from the Flipgrid camera tool to create a fantastic imaginative scene. Kathy Krasnowski came up with that idea of Flipgrid scene, Flipmoji scenes, and we've seen folks create solar space examples, scientists' laboratories, medieval settings, talking about historical moments. So again, if you can think it, you can Flipgrid it. And I love just these other visuals. You'll see when I launch the camera exactly what I'm talking about. The endless possibilities for creating with the Flipgrid camera, whether it's using stickers or emojis or an inking annotating tool or a whiteboard or uploading your own photographs. Right there, it's a simple text box on the screen that says it's Flipgrid time. And perhaps you could use one of those fun filters like the pixel filter to play a Guess Who game or a mystery book game. And the other graphic on the screen talks about recording a short, which is where you as an educator could create teaching videos and share those with your community on any skill or content area. Now, it's simple. I mentioned that you create a grid, and you as educators are the ones that invite students to participate. Students do not create Flipgrid accounts. You as the educators do, and you invite students to join your grid and add the magic of their classroom, add the magic of their voice. And think of this, a grid is your classroom, it's your community, it's your third period Spanish class, it's any group of students you want to engage in a learning task. All right, so I mentioned a few things that we're going to try, and one of them is called Flipgrid AR. And if you're familiar with augmented reality, please know that every response that's added to Flipgrid can be viewed in augmented reality. So check this out. I want to share a few examples, and what you see on the screen is a tweet from a teacher named Jenna Simpson, and she said, "Say goodbye to explaining station directions more than once." So as a former first grade teacher, I know when I'm working in the back of the classroom with my students on a skill or focus group area, and other students come up and say, I have a question. Check this video out to show how she uses this augmented reality feature.
This week, you need to choose a word from the
that now plays a video of her giving those directions. And I love this next example from Mrs. Kennedy, who teaches an American Sign Language class. And her question here says, who says you can't have ASL comic books? Having students illustrate their comic books with Flipgrid QR codes as the text. This is an incredible example that shows one way students can read their book using Flipgrid augmented reality. Check this out. I love that you see this educator signing the information from the page right here of student illustrations. What a creative use of augmented reality from Flipgrid. All right, so friends, if you have your own mobile device and you want to try Flipgrid AR now, what I want to let you know is if you were to simply launch the Flipgrid app on your device, you'll see a big red button that says Scan Flipgrid QR. And so when you do that, you simply hover over a Flipgrid QR code and you will view that video in augmented reality. So if you have your mobile device and you want to try it now, launch the Flipgrid app, tap Scan Flipgrid QR, and hover over the QR code that's on the screen right now. You'll see a surprise from me from somewhere on planet Earth. And I'm going to let this hang out for just another moment for anybody out there who's trying Flipgrid AR now. All right, again, every video that is added to Flipgrid has one of these QR codes that is automatically created for it. So imagine bulletin board displays. Imagine if you share a teaching video on a paper you hand out to students. Imagine a thank you greeting that can come to life in new ways with these augmented reality QR codes. Okay, friends, what I want to do now is just scroll through a few more of these slides to show you what we're going to do when we go into the platform. I mentioned that you get started at flipgrid.com. And we're going to go there in just a moment, but we're going to talk about the Disco Library, and we're going to talk about a few resources as well. And just so I'm wrapping up the slides, I also want to make mention that if you want to get connected, please feel free to find us on social media at Flipgrid, or join the conversation simply by using that hashtag #FlipGridForAll. All right, friends, what we're going to do now is navigate to flipgrid.com, and you should be able to see this screen. And again, I'm simply presenting from flipgrid.com. And if you've never signed up, you definitely can check it out in the top right corner, that educator sign up button. And what I'm going to do is point out a few things on the screen. If you notice at the top of the screen, we have a remote learning tab, as well as a resource tab, and then your educator login button. I'm going to go ahead and click on that remote learning tab and show you what you'll find when you navigate to this screen. Those of you who are looking for supports with remote learning, you definitely want to check this out. We have resources, information, tips for getting started, tips for engaging students and families, as well as resources, as mentioned, to help educators and students. We have different translations for folks who are looking for getting started guides in various translations. We have videos to help teachers and students. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just show that's what that screen looks like if you're looking for those remote learning resources. But again, if you're simply working at the flipgrid.com site and you click on that tab that says resources, what you are going to see is additional Flipgrid resources. And I like to share these before I go into the platform, simply to help you know where you can find help at your fingertips. I mentioned that remote learning from home resource. And additionally, we do have a getting started guide. But when you scroll down on this screen, you're going to see those additional resources. My colleagues, Jornay, Jess, and I oftentimes do live professional development, just like this, and we host question and answer time too. So if you want to dig in deep or explore a little bit more, or even slow down again and go through another getting started session, feel free to join us for Flipgrid PD. We also have a help center, and I'm going to navigate there in just a moment and show you what a powerful resource this is with answers to all of those frequently asked questions. But I want to point out these are the integration docs, and what these are age and content specific resources to help you as teachers see possibilities for using Flipgrid in your community. So whether you're teaching language arts and literature, grammar, phonics, reading instruction, and beyond, or if you're teaching different science or STEM or math skills, additionally social studies, or even a specialty subject like music and the arts or world languages, physical education, or perhaps you work in library sciences, or you're an administrator or a coach in your district. Definitely feel free to check out some of these integration docs. And I'm going to click into one to show you what you'll find there. My sister was an adaptive PE teacher, so I love making sure we have resources for specialty teachers in health and related arts. As mentioned, this is for health and physical education, but what you'll find is some information covering the Flipgrid basics. And what is Flipgrid? How you might use it in your core content area. And then what you'll find are ready to launch topics. You get those topics in a place called Discovery Library, which is right inside of your Flipgrid account. So perhaps you're exploring what it means to be a good sport, or helping students in a volleyball unit, or talking about, meditation, kinesiology, mental health awareness. These are just some examples of topics that you will find here in the integration docs and also in the Discovery Library. Now, one more thing before I completely navigate away from the resources, I just want to show you again. If you don't remember where any of these are housed, simply get yourself back to flipgrid.com and you just click on that button that says resources. One more that I want to share is our help center. And I mentioned this as a fantastic resource. And I love sharing the help center even before I go into the platform, just to let you know it's bite-sized. They're rich, meaningful, relevant answers to any question you could possibly have about Flipgrid. You could do a general search or check out these popular help articles. We have resources and supports for educators and students, or if you're experiencing technical issues, if you want to find featured articles, or if you want to connect further, so from individual troubleshooting, definitely feel free to click that Let's Connect button. But let me show you what one of these looks like. This one says how to record and submit your video. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment, but I want to show you here this article. I mentioned bite size. I mentioned relevant, meaningful. Check this out. It's a 48-second video, and included is a really great simple visual with step-by-step directions, and then a quick animation of a walkthrough showing you what buttons to push and how to use them. So friends, definitely feel free to check out that help center. And what I'm going to go ahead and do right now, one more time, is navigate right back to flipgrid.com. And I told you we're going to take a look and see what this looks like from the student side. So notice here on the top of the screen, there's a button that says enter a flip code. And right here on the screen, it says enter a flip code. A flip code is the unique code you share with your students when you invite them to add their response. So I'm going to go ahead and click here and use this word certified. And when I go to this grid, this is an example of what Flipgrid looks like from a student or participant side. I'm going to scroll down and show you here on the screen. Here's the information in my topic that talks about why is student voice important and how do you amplify and empower your students. So that's the prompt, that's the question, that's the activity or assignment. And your prompts can be as simple or as sophisticated as you want them to be as well. Notice there's a link right here that takes you to a resource. I'll talk about that blue button in just a moment, but I want to scroll down and show you right now on this particular educator grid, there are over 9,000 responses. And each smile, each selfie, each photograph here represents an educator somewhere in the world who is sharing their voice and talking about the power of student voice. And to get started and add a response, all you do is click on that big green plus sign to record a response. And I'll show you that when I get it set up from my educator side in just a moment. Friends, before I go into the account and show you how to create a grid and how to create a topic, I want to talk about this blue button right here. And I know I'm sharing a lot of information and a lot of resources, and I might be going quickly for you, but I promise we have tons of supports for you. And one of the big takeaways I hope you get from today is this right here, the immersive reader. The immersive reader is a Microsoft learning tool that is fully embedded throughout Flipgrid. And when you click on it, you'll get visual and audio supports that help your scholars go through your Flipgrid topic prompt. Notice I could play aloud the prompt. I can toggle the voice settings, increase the speed or decrease the speed and voice selection. Additionally, on the screen, you'll notice I can change some text preferences. So when I click on that icon, I can increase or decrease the text size. And imagine you're working with a community or somebody in your learning community who has a visual need or has a dyslexia or dysgraphia or needs a visual or auditory support. That's what the immersive reader is and how it provides help. You can increase spacing, change and toggle a font, or even go between a high contrast or low contrast to support different visual needs. Additionally, there are grammar options. So you could identify syllables, you could label and identify parts of speech if needed. And as a former first grade teacher who talked about nouns, verbs, and adjectives all the time with my students, this is something that's super helpful sometimes, and they're just there as grammar options for whoever wants to use it. Additionally, the reading preferences icon allows you to use tools like line focus, where you can toggle between a single line or multiple lines. Additionally, there's a picture dictionary that provides great visual supports for students. But I want to talk about this translate feature. This translate feature is an incredible way that you can empower your community to use a translation if needed. So let's see. I'm going to choose Dutch right now, and I'm going to translate the entire document and just show you that I now have made this topic prompt accessible to anybody in a language of their choice. And again, we talk about the immersive reader as a powerful way to empower your learning community as needed. So I'm going to toggle that back to English and just show you an example of what it looks like when you have, let's see, here's a great one, a picture dictionary that's showing you what the word meat might look like. So friends, definitely feel free. Anytime you see that blue button, please know it's there as a visual support for anybody who needs it. All right, here we are back one more time at flipgrid.com, and this is where I'm going to go ahead and go into my own account. And what I'm showing you now is what it looks like inside my teacher account. I know I'm in my teacher account because I see my URL at the top that says admin.flipgrid.com. I see some information like my grids. I see my profile name at the top. This is my teacher view. And remember, students do not create Flipgrid accounts, educators do. And so on the screen, you'll notice right here, the big colorful button that says Add New Grid. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and now show you how to set up your first grid. So when you click on it, let's make a grid. All right, and I'm going to call mine 21st century, if I can spell the word century. All right, 21st century educators sample. And I gave it a name, and now I need to select a grid type. A grid type simply means you as the educator determines who can access your grid. So those of you who work with a school email domain, whether it's Google or Microsoft, we would highly encourage you to use a school email domain. This means anybody who has that school email address, when you share the flip code with them, will have access to your grid. If your students do not use a school email domain, or perhaps they're younger scholars, we would encourage you to use a student ID grid. And what that means is you as the educator create a class roster, you type in their names, you give them a unique identifier, or you can upload a CSV file and automatically do it. The unique identifier here can be as simple as 2 characters, which makes it very simple for your youngest scholars. And if you want a public grid with fellow educators you're working with, perhaps it's a book study or a professional learning network, we would encourage you to use that educator learning community grid type. But for the sake of this demonstration, since the majority of you are using a school email domain, I'm going to go ahead and click on that one. Now, I used a flip code called certified earlier to show you that sample grid. And right here on the screen, you can see Kozma 1632. Now, this flip code was automatically created for me, but I'm going to create one, Kozma sample, and hey, it's available. So let's say I customize my flip code. Let's say I make it unique and memorable for my community. You definitely can customize your code, and that's all you need to share with your students. I'm going to go ahead and click next. And this is where I add my domain. So I mentioned a Google or Microsoft school email domain. What I'm going to do is show you, I simply added flipgrid.com. Now, if your district or school or organization has different domains for students, perhaps it has STU at the beginning, definitely be sure to add the domain for your students as well. 3 quick notes to remember. It must be a Microsoft or Google account. You can add multiple domains if educators and students have different domains, and the email domains above are the ones that have access to your grid. All right, when I click next, notice here my grid is ready, and we have an introduction topic already created. I simply need to copy and paste that. So if you're using any communication tool, copy, paste, and share. Or if you want to use the embed code, share directly to Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, or even on a tool like Remind, simply click one of those shortcuts. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my grid and show you now from an educator standpoint, here's my grid detail. And here's that introduction topic that was already created for me. But I want to create another topic. So I'm going to click on that button that says Add New Topic. And I'm going to give it a title. So I'm going to call this one Today's Aha Learning Moments. All right. And my title, Today's Aha Learning Moments, now needs a guiding prompt, a question, or the stimulus text. So let's see. In 60 seconds or less, share your learning moment from today. All right, that's quite simple, but notice you can customize it. I'm going to bold this text. Notice you have the option to insert links. You have up to 1,000 characters to make this, again, as simple or as complex as you want it to be. Additionally, educators remain in control of a recording time. So I mentioned in 60 seconds or less, but notice you can set your recording time from 15 seconds all the way up to 10 minutes. And I would just encourage you to choose a length of time that matches your learning goal for the topic. All right, there it's set to 1 minute. And notice, friends, you can turn on video moderation. What this means is videos remain hidden from students until you choose to activate them. Or perhaps you're using Flipgrid for some sort of assessment and you want them private and not public on the grid. Turn on video moderation and you can see them as a teacher, but nobody else can see them unless you make them active. All right, the last thing we need to do is set a focus media. And this is just one way you could engage your students, recording a video here, uploading a video file, adding a video from YouTube or Vimeo, uploading a photograph, adding a Giphy, an emoji, or any of these incredible web-based resources. So I'm simply going to add an emoji, and I'm going to type think. So here's my little visual that's going to pop up. Friends, you can further customize these topics. We have a rubric tool that's embedded for you. You have different ways you can customize it simply by clicking on more options. But I'm going to just create a very simple topic, and all I need is a title, a prompt, my recording time, and that focus. So here I go. When I create this topic, it's ready. And if you're thinking, I already saw a screen like that, you're right. You get a flip code inviting somebody to your grid, or you can give them a shortcut directly to this topic. So I'm simply going to click all set. Here I am again. I'm still in my teacher view. I see that I don't have any responses, but I want to respond to this as a student and show you what it looks like. So again, here's my grid. Here's my grid code. It's called Kozma sample. And I have 2 topics now. And I want my students to respond to that aha learning moment. So what I'm going to do right now is very quickly turn off my Zoom video so that I can use my video. Here we go. I'm going to come in and show you at flipgrid.com. When I come back to sample, all right, friends, let me know if you can see this. Here we go. I'm going to log right back in. Okay. Here we go. Okay, friends, this is what it looks like now. I have my page and I have my camera, and I'm going to go ahead and click record a response. And what happens is now you'll see the camera launches. And here I am right in my Flipgrid camera, and you can see all of these creation tools I have available. I can change the filter. I can change the theme or tone. Here it is. I'm just going to choose this one. I want to add some text. So I'm going to say my aha moment and maybe move this around on the screen. I can decorate this to be as simple or as sophisticated. I can change my font. I can change the colors. I can do all kinds of things. I can add an emoji sticker. Here we go. And maybe I put this up here for just a moment. I mentioned that live inking tool. So what if I come over here and just quickly draw on this? Tons of possibilities to create and showcase my learning in fun ways. Additionally, I can change between a whiteboard and a blackboard if I wanted to. Imagine this is for a maths project. Imagine this is any kind of thing, or clear my board and come back on screen. Also, you'll notice when you hover over that photograph, you can add a custom sticker. So if I want to drop an image file or click to upload, I can add my own sticker as well. And friends, I want to point out under those three dots, you're going to see various video options. So if you want to, you could use a screen recorder and capture your screen. Perhaps it's a PowerPoint file or even a Word document, a Google slide deck, anything you want to record on your desktop or a browser tab. You could even upload your own video clip if you used a different tool. You could also toggle on or off the ability to record with audio. So these are tons of creative ways for your students to make magic and share their voice in unique ways. So I'm going to go ahead and click that red record button and show you, get a quick 3, 2, 1. Hey, there's my countdown. And now I'm responding to the prompt according to whatever it is my teacher asked me to say. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. 3, 2, 1. Hey, I have a quick ability to review if I need to, or even add more. But I'm just going to click on that next button. And now I need to take a selfie to go along with my video, or I could click on the 3 dots and select a frame or even import an image if I wanted to. There's my quick selfie. I'm going to go ahead and click next. Don't close the window. If you need to make a quick edit to a display name or insert a link if you're submitting additional work as an option, but I'm going to go ahead and click submit. Now my video is visible on the grid, and I have these options if I need to download a QR code or download a video or even download the selfie. And friends, a quick refresh. I'm going to log right back in and show you what it looks like now. On the screen, you'll see my response as a student. So imagine all of those videos that start to pop up, that start to populate, that start to share and celebrate and showcase every unique voice. All right, one more time, I'm going to come back into my educator view and simply show you now. Check this out. when I come into my aha learning moment, here is my student video. And when I click into this, I can review this individual video. I can provide feedback to my student via video. I can add written detailed feedback, and I can share it in different ways. Additionally, I mentioned those QR codes. If I wanted to, I could download and use the individual augmented reality QR code for this single video. Wow, friends, tons and tons and tons of possibility. But before I go and switch over into the questions and Leanne comes back, I want to talk about another place that you can find incredible content. This is what we call the Discovery Library. And this is a place where you can find tons of ready-to-use topics from incredible partners and fellow educators around the world. We have some spotlights across the top that you might find interesting and want to use to support your community. Additionally, you can scroll down and find weekly hits. These are trending topics from educators around the world. And check this out. We have tons of featured Discovery Partner playlists from folks like the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Wonderopolis, Nearpod, California State Parks, BBC, Epic Books for Kids. Goodness gracious, tons and tons and tons of free, ready-to-use content from fellow educators and partners. Or you can go and do a general search. So check this out. Let's say I teach high school, and let's say I am a language teacher, and I now have filtered down to different topics that are much more meaningful and relevant for me. I love to use these column headers and toggle between the most used or the most favorited amount of topics. So check this out. Let's see. Introductions in Spanish. This is a great example that gives you the topic prompt. Yeah, let's say I want to use this in my classroom. All I need to do is select a grid. Here's the sample grid that I made. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to that and check it out. I'm not going to make any different edits. So I simply need to click Update Topic. And now I'm ready to share and use this topic in my own community. Friends, there are tons and tons of ways that you can use Flipgrid. And if you're just getting started, definitely feel free to explore the Discovery Library and find a topic there. Whether you do a general search or you use the partner content, feel free to check it out. All of this is free and available for you to use. I guess one more great thing to point out is this tile right here called Conversation Starters. So again, if you're just getting started and looking for some fun ways, here's a sample that I shared a while back, all about me videos. You can see the topic prompt right here. I used emojis to ask students to share specific things. And again, all you have to do is select a grid, add it to your grid, click update, and then you're ready to share it in your own community. Goodness gracious, that's a lot of information to share in a short while. But what I want to do is come back and start my video. Here we go, everybody, I'm back. And invite friends to join in. Leanne, I would love to know if we have any questions. I know I went through a ton of information really fast, but I would love to readdress anything or address questions that friends have.
And you know, I thought I was using Flipgrid and I thought I had a good handle, but I learned a ton of new things today that I said, oh, maybe it's a good thing I was actually paying attention through the session. Now I have to go explore.
I love playing to learn and I love pushing buttons. And so as educators, I love that you do these webinars. I joined yours last week also, and I know you do them with a ton of friends and different opportunities because they're play to learn sessions for you to empower educators around the world. And that's what a day like today is all about. Don't be afraid to push buttons, listen in, get a new idea, and then try something new. And maybe it works for you, or maybe you got a new idea of how you can make it work for you.
So we have someone from Jamaica with us. He said he's been using Flipgrid for a whole year now, a real game changer for his students. I'm seeing lots of likes. I don't know if we have any questions. I mean, you were very thorough. So let me see, we have a question here. Someone would like to see the QR code again because she did
Yes.
not get to download, the app
Okay,
in
so
time.
let me go back. Yeah, and that's a great, let me get it up on the screen and I'm going to share my screen again. So what this is an augmented reality QR code. I'm going to pop it into present mode so it'll be a little bit larger on the screen. And again, anybody who wants to view it in augmented reality, you must use the free Flipgrid app. So what you do is simply launch the app on your device, and then you're going to see the red button that says Scan Flipgrid QR. And that's where you'll hover over it. You can see there's a viewfinder and you just hover over that augmented reality QR code. Those of you who tried this one, sneak peek, Leanne, I'm going to give away the secret. This is a video of me in the Sequoia National Park in Northern California at a tree called the General Sherman. And this is the largest tree on planet Earth. So imagine standing in front of a massive tree and scanning up in augmented reality. Or imagine it's a student artwork that's on a bulletin board display. And when you scan the QR code, it's a student talking about why that piece is meaningful or important to them. Or imagine it's a piece of writing and it's a young student who's developing their oral language fluency, reading aloud a story that they wrote. Or imagine it's a welcome sign on your school campus, welcoming a new family to the community. Tons of possibilities for how you can bring student voice to life in new ways with augmented reality.
Indeed. And we have some comments here. Someone is saying thank you. They're still thinking about the immersive reader. So that certainly was a big one and excellent webinar. So people are saying, sounds interesting. So I think we're going to have a few people going to check out Flipgrid. And as I said, I use it with my students, but I definitely learned quite a lot today.
Had you heard of the immersive reader before?
I saw it, but I've never used it. So now I see the possibilities of it.
Oh my gosh, I love talking about it because it's just a tool that's there if somebody wants to use it. And I think that's so beautiful because when we talk about empowering our students, that looks different for everybody. And you think about learning modalities, and I was a visual learner. I know that about myself. So that picture dictionary is so powerful, whether it's understanding a vocabulary word or somebody who's acquiring a second language. Tools like that are so powerful for our students. And it's just there to use if somebody wants it. So it's non-stigmatizing. You don't have to be embarrassed to use a support. It's just there if you need it.
Just reading some of the comments, quite interesting, especially the immersive reader. So definitely a big plus. Disa is going to be trying out Flipgrid after.
That's
and
awesome.
Marcia is saying that she's never tried this. However, she can visualize this working with her class. So I definitely, once people use it, we want some feedback. Anne will really love the feedback when you use it with your class. I mean, I use it with my students and they love it because of the emojis and, the things that they can do, they can edit. They really do love it.
Yeah.
So I think we have some persons who are going to be trying this out after. So I want to say thank you. I don't know if you have any more questions or comments before we leave, but I really want to thank Anne for taking this time out. And Anne, don't you have something to invite us to?
Yeah, I did. I just pulled it up on my screen. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. And I want to let folks know that this coming Monday night, we are having a giant celebration. It's a community celebration for educators around the world, and we call it Flipgrid Live. But what we're going to do is share stories of inspiration from the Flipgrid community, and we're going to unveil the all new Flipgrid. So some of the things I showed you today are going to be supercharged in new, incredible ways. And on Monday, we're revealing all of that to the world. So feel free to check it out at blog.flipgrid.com/newsletter. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that link and I'll share it in the chat. But definitely feel free to join in for Flipgrid Live if you want to. It's going to be a party. And it's just a way to celebrate incredible educators everywhere. Leanne, you just mentioned feedback and the powerful role feedback plays in a learning community. We value feedback from educators around the world, and that's how we continue to grow and improve Flipgrid for everybody. So to all of you who joined in, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to explore Flipgrid. And I love the whole idea that educators are better together. So a group like 21st Century Educators is a perfect example. You explore, you play, you learn new things, you encourage and empower each other. And that's what we do together. We are better always. So thank you, Leanne, for inviting me to join and share Flipgrid.
One question, people are definitely going to use it. Somebody said they're going to use it with their Chinese language students, going to set it up. Just one person has a question. How do we get the AR code once I get Flipgrid set up on my device?
Yeah, so I'm going into our help center right now, and I'm actually going to drop the link to this. When you, as the educator, click into your account and you click on a student video, the share button is where you'll find that QR code. So I just dropped in a link. I think this is for Marcia or Marcia, the watch videos with Flipgrid AR link that I just dropped in. Definitely feel free to head over to the help center. I'll drop that link as well. And for anybody, some of those additional resources, remember, you can literally just click right on where it says resources at flipgrid.com to get back to all of these. Sometimes it's easier to share one link rather than a bunch of links, but definitely feel free to click buttons. And if we can help in any way, you'll find all of our email addresses as well as social handles on that resource page. Just at the bottom, you'll see a picture of Jess, Jornay, and I at the Flipgrid resources. And we're the 3 teachers on the team who are here to help you.
So thank you once again so very much. And yes, for those of you who are asking, there will be a replay available. So you can watch it and share it with your friends. And of course, please give us feedback once you use it. And who knows, we may be having a second session when school is about to reopen so that we can find out more about what's happening with Flipgrid. So that's it. Thank you so very much, Anne. And bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Take care.